Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and in today's video, I wanted to look at one of the leaders I picked up pretty recently. This is, of course, War for Cybertron Siege Leader Wave 1 Ultra Magnus. And I start all my guys out in vehicle mode because I like kind of revealing the robot from the vehicle mode. But for Ultra Magnus in particular, I've got a special attachment to this vehicle mode. I mean, he is, as everyone else on the internet has pointed out, very reminiscent of his Robots in Disguise car carrier mode. And I love this front design. I love the kind of concave shape of his windshield, and then leading into like kind of that grill up front. I love the silver painted tires on him. That has been the nice thing about Siege, is we've gotten plenty of paint. I kind of wish his feet folded away or went flat or something. I don't love the like angled toes on the back end. I love all his guns. He works super well even without any weaponizers on him. He's got the big silver gun up front or in the back that you can point in all sorts of directions and port in all sorts of different spots all along him. He's got these two kind of 90s X-Men Bishop and Cable big guns that they even have a little bit of silver paint on them. And then he's got his traditional Magnus missile launchers, which I was actually surprised by. For some reason, I think the IDW Ultra Magnus just got me used to these being double missile launchers, but I guess it's more traditional for him to have a single missile. But yeah, he looks terrific. I mostly got him for this mode, actually. I don't really need a Super G1 Ultra Magnus in my life. But I was curious about the Voyager, and then I was curious about this mode. My biggest complaint about this mode, and as you can see if you look in there, there's really no room for cars. You can kind of set a deluxe up top, you know, one-ish, can kind of, maybe two can kind of hang out there, more if they're legends. But comparing him to the Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus based off IDW Ultra Magnus, while he's definitely more painted and he looks a little nicer, this guy is a much more functional car carrier. You can have your 2 or 1.5 guys up top as normal, but he can also carry a car no problem on the inside. So like that, you know, if I want a car carrier to display, unfortunately the IDW Magnus kind of takes the cake there, which I'm a little bummed by. I was kind of expecting functional, you know, this guy has the functional back that you can roll stuff in and out on. This guy, no such luck with the way the boots work. So while I picked up Ultra Magnus for this mode, I think ended up appreciating some of his other features even more. So let's go ahead and take a look just at the cab. So if we untab the blue panels and then kind of pull out our white cab, which it's tabbed in pretty secure back here, but we should be able to, maybe I gotta separate a little bit. There we go. Oh, it just popped back in, didn't it? There we go. So we've got our trailer. Peg these back in. This cab by itself I'm pretty happy with. I really wish there was a way to fold up his hands. I'm probably gonna 3D print some covers, just to maybe something that'll tab into here and kind of close this space up while covering these hands. But just as a Voyager cab, I mean, you saw previously in the size comparison, the cab is definitely bigger than the previous cab that we got, which I appreciate that a lot. And this is also, again, it's entirely its own robot. We can go ahead and transform him, folding the legs down, separate them like you do. His waist piece is already the way we want it. Take the arms, fold them out and away from the back. Take the front, twist it around to the back of the cab, and then that lets us open up his chest. And I always have a little bit of problem. This tabs in pretty securely. I was a little paranoid. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe we gotta fold his waist down to get that. to really open up. There we go. Flip the head out, fold it back, fold the waist back, click his arms in place, and now we have white Optimus Prime Ultra Magnus, which I do very much appreciate this mode. Oh, actually, I forgot one step. So obviously he's got this big butt protruding out. This is his spinal column. You can kind of compress his chest back onto it like so. Totally forgot that step. There we go. Now we've got white cab Optimus Prime all done. And this part of Ultra Magnus I love also. I love that he has hints of the traditional Optimus Prime details, but very techy. To me, this is much more of a Cybertronian mode than what we got as the Voyager Optimus, although I understand that's probably a more poseable toy, and a lot of people are really happy with that. I love the teal details. I love his blue, that ice blue on his face. He himself, I think, is pretty poseable as is. He's got plenty of head wiggle. He's got 360 on the shoulders. The elbows can go up past 90 degrees, which I appreciate. We get a good, or shoulders can. The elbow curl is right at 90. We do, as you can see, get a full twist on his wrists. He does have, with his transformation scheme, he does have a waist. He's got the full Van Damme on the legs. Can go kick up 90 degrees. Can kick back as far as you can until they get into his butt tires. And then good 90 on his knees. And of course some lovely ankle ratchets. Not ratchets, just ankle tilt that lets you get him all poseable and mean and ferocious, and you can give him, you know, let's give him some guns to get things properly posed. I am just super happy with this guy. He can come out in all sorts of different poses. I really, really like this part of the toy. I could see myself, if something happened in the cab trailer and I lost it, I'd still be pretty okay with this guy. And it kind of has me curious about the Cybertron Optimus Prime. I don't normally pick up remolds, but I could see myself getting that figure because I like this already, just as is. But yeah, so that is the Voyager part of Ultra Magnus, and he does sit kind of at that Voyager-ish level. So here is Ultra Magnus. Here is the Classics Prime mold as Ginrai. And I think they look super good together. I love, like, the not Optimuses hanging out together. I really like that. And then here's my personal Optimus Prime, the first edition Transformers Prime Optimus Prime. And I like, he's a head taller, he's big and beefy, and then he will upgrade up to be bigger. I kind of like that dynamic between them a lot. The Dreamwave comic, where we get to see Ultra Magnus without his armor in a story, really had an effect on me in my Transformers fandom. So I appreciate that we get this guy. And he's pretty well painted up too. My only real complaint, I love the yellow on the headlights. My only real complaint is this, their weathering / damage. Tatimus Prime made a really good point in a recent video that this isn't really weathering because there's no rust. It looks like it's just damage, like he got shot, and it just removed the white paint that is on the vehicle and revealed the metal underneath. But like, looking at these legs, this is just someone took a brush and went, yeah. Like, that's all. Like, it doesn't look like damage to me. Like, unless he was getting shot like this, so the bullet kind of slid into his thigh, like, I don't know. It doesn't look great. I love the damage on some of the darker colors, like on Siege Megatron. I love the way that damage looks, but for Ultra Magnus, to me, that doesn't look good. I'll probably end up removing that. It just looks like badly applied silver stripes. But yeah, so there is Ultra Magnus, and we can go ahead and get things transformed. So to start out, we're gonna take apart this trailer. We'll set him to the side real quick. So first things first, we can take the blue side pieces of the trailer and separate them away. I think there's a tab here, and that's really it. We can separate that and it'll move it out. And same on the other side. There we go, get those out of the way. flip the top piece up and pull out these guards that are on this peg here, these boxes. Then we can separate out here, these two smokestack columns are pegged into his boots. We just pull these guys off, set those to the side, and then up top we can separate the boots and pull out this piece, and we get, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chunks of armor, with the rockets can count also. So his armor is definitely a parts former, but for Ultra Magnus, I think it works super well. So starting out on Ultra Magnus, to get him going into his transformation, we'll separate his shoulders out, flip his waist down, and pull his head, push out his chest to pull his chest down and put his head away, put that away. Then we can recompress that, flip the waist around to have that blue section showing. And then I believe, if I remember right, that is all we need to do on his bot mode. Next thing we can do is take a boot, and I struggle with this even after practicing it a few times before recording. So I believe, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins. We start at pin 3 and fold in, and that creates a flat connection. Then we fold in pin 5, and that creates another flat connection. Now we can fold 4 in and fold 2, so we get this L bracket now, and that closes on his boot. And there is 2 pegs here, fit into these sockets here, close that up, nice and tidy. Same thing on the other side, fold in 3, fold in 5, fold in 4, and that gives us the L. Here's our pegs. We can close that right on top, no problem. So now we've got the 2 boots. We can take our headless Voyager Ultra Magnus. He's got these pegs here, and these are sockets in here that you can just slide it right in. This pretty much guides itself. The shape of the foot really fits snugly into these big old stomping boots, and I love that look. I like that a lot. We can take the forearms, and I tend to mess these guys up also, but the C shape is the outside, and we want the cut underneath his wrist, so it'll sit this peg into this hole that sits right there. We can close that up. Same thing on the other side. I kind of wish we covered up the hand entirely and got him some bigger hands. To, the peg hole wouldn't be any bigger, but his physical hands would be bigger. Then we can take his chest piece. This used to be the top of the cab. We can fold in that back part into his window shield, give him his Ultra Magnus blue and red chest, fold in the front part where he was in the trailer, and then sit this. It has sockets right here, these clips right here, the pegs, they sit right in super easy. Oop. There it goes. Close that up front, close this in the back, and I mean, look at Ultra Magnus almost all done. Just got to put his smokestacks on, flip the silver pieces back, and then I believe this is correct. No, we want to flip them. Obviously, this open area slides right over his shoulders. So, same thing here. Slide that right on top of his shoulders. And then we have his missiles. Oop. They can sit into these sockets right here. And now we've got, Ultra Magnus all done. And he looks pretty okay. I loved IDW Ultra Magnus. I like DreamWorks Ultra Magnus mostly because of that one panel, that splash page of him in white mode. For the blue and red Ultra Magnus that we know and love, I fell in love with IDW's Ultra Magnus. This is not that Ultra Magnus. Doesn't mean he's not a great Ultra Magnus, he's just not the one that I want hanging out with the Lost Light crew. He is more articulated, so he's got, his head can twist and turn all sorts of ways. He still has almost all of his shoulder articulation. He actually has all of his shoulder articulation because With the way the shoulder pads are cut, you can get that out all the way. Same with all of his bicep articulation, which I really appreciate. Same on the wrists. I'm actually trying to think if he loses anywhere. He loses a tiny, let me get that out of the way. He loses a tiny bit of articulation in his leg because the back of his big stomping boot will hit his heel, or his thigh. But that's really it. He even has lovely, lovely ankle tilts. So in terms of posability, this does beat out that Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. And again, we get, you know, all sorts of weapons for him to gear up with however you want. He works with the weaponizer gimmick super, super well, and I very much appreciate that. But yeah, this is Ultra Magnus, and then we can show him next to the other Ultra Magnus. So to compare him to Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, here is the size of the different leaders. And I will say, I know we've gotten a lot of complaints about, you know, how much the leader class has shrunk. But if I'm holding the two of them, like, this is a heavier figure. There's more toy in this than here. I think if I'm like trying to use objective metrics, this is the better toy. I really, really like IDW Ultra Magnus. I'm still trying to figure out how I justified both of them in my collection. I'm thinking I'll just call this Minimus Ambus and he'll hang out with a Lost Light. And this guy will be the Wreckers Ultra Magnus. That's probably how I'll say it. Although I could see myself getting rid of Siege Ultra Magnus at some point if push came to shove. But yeah, he's still a good toy. I just don't know if he brings me joy personally, the way he might for some other people. And then here he is next to my Optimus Prime and Classics Optimus. Again, I like that size difference here. He turned into a big bot, even if he's not the traditional leader size point. And that's pretty much all I got here. He does work super well with the weaponizer gimmick. He's got ports everywhere. If Cog wasn't kind of half painted, I'd probably slap some parts on and show him off. But yeah, Ultra Magnus all around looks really, really good. I'm pretty happy with the toy. It may not be my personal Ultra Magnus, but he's still a very good figure. And he's got me pretty excited about the Cybertron Optimus toy that's going to be a remold of this. So we'll see him hopefully pretty soon. But yeah, I'm almost done with Wave 1. So next will be Shockwave and then the Battle Masters. And yeah, it's been a good run so far. And let me know what you guys think about this guy. I mean, I might end up selling him. He could hang out with my Wreckers right now. Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus hangs out with my Wreckers, but I could move him to Lost Light and then have him hang out with the Wreckers. I could also just kind of flip him. Like, I didn't pay that much for him. I could kind of sell him. I don't know yet. What do you guys think of the very G1 style Ultra Magnus? I guess that's it. Have a great day, everyone, and I will catch you all later.